Thank you, John. It's only words, and words are all I have to show my love for you. It's perfect. And it's true. It is our words. You know, our words can reach out in love, or they can reach out in harm. For the last few weeks, we've been talking a lot about nonviolent communications because of everything that's going on in the outer world. And how do we, as spiritual beings, practice our unity principles in that chaos that's outside of us? One of the ways we do it is to practice compassionate listening. Our founder, Myrtle Fillmore, co-founder, to me she's the founder because Unity began with Myrtle listening to her inner spiritual voice and then taking actions with her words to affirm her truth. That is so important for each of us to remember. How do we talk to ourselves? What is it that we're saying about us to our own being? Myrtle taught us to love every cell in the body, every system in the body, every molecule, atom that we are. To be blessed by every breath that we take. And as the affirmation today tells us, to be prosperous as we enjoy the daily blessings. It's not for the big, whatever we desire outside of ourselves that we're living. It's for that daily blessing, to enrich our own selves, to shift our consciousness higher in this lifetime, for the immortality of all beings everywhere in humanity. That's why we're here. Now, we each have our own personal desires that are good, for the most part. And as long as we remember that we're not here to infringe upon others, and we practice the listening to our own still small voice and follow the lead of Spirit, which sets us free to that adventure of life, allowing us to have loving relationships with our family and our friends and our coworkers, opening us to that spark of the divine self, which is here and now. That inspiration allows us to go and to do all that we desire as the expression of the infinite spirit that is. We are that infinite spirit. And when we remember that, our desires really motivate us into those daily blessings. When we're working to accomplish our dreams and desires, we are living in harmony with all the universe, with all that is. Those relationships with others are a reflection of our internal relationship with ourselves. I look at it as the reflection of the water flowing is the reflection of life flowing. And that gentle stream, the gentle breeze of life, that is the desire for our life to flow gently with unconditional love. It's not the way our history of humanity was founded. It's in contradiction to that, and yet it is our truth. Our history was founded on the ends justifies the mean. The end justifies the means. And we know from a personal experience and for what's going on in our world right now that violence brings more violence. Anger brings more anger. Hatred brings more hatred. Our thoughts create more thoughts of like kind. When someone strikes out at us with those words of hate or anger, do we strike back? Or do we stand in principle and take a breath and bless them? And that's not easy. It's not easy to bless someone who is totally opposite of you in that moment. But it is ours to do as unconditional love. And so if we take that breath and center ourselves in that love that we are, blessing them because we know they are in pain, instead of the condemnation, will open them to the light. And that's ours to do, is to open ourselves and to help others transform through that light, which is that wisdom and unconditional love. Jesus, our way shower, said, "And I, if I be lifted up from the earth, will draw all men," and I'm going to put beings in there, "will draw all beings unto myself." So as we raise our vibrational thoughts and the vibration of our own energetic being, we raise the vibration of those around us. We bring harmony to all that is. Gandhi taught nonviolence as the means we employ, standing in integrity with our objectives. So what is it we want to accomplish here? And how do we do it without making others wrong? How do we do it as unconditional love? How do we create those new possibilities to live in principle? Because that's really what we're talking about. Nobody has to be right or wrong. We're all on this plane of existence, and we're on different levels of it. And yet, we know that when we live in harmony within ourselves, that harmony reflects outside of ourselves. And the world becomes balanced. So we can listen as love to those around us. We can send love and light to those around us. Hearing and being heard allows compassionate communication. Sending blessings to those who do not think like us sends compassionate love. And the flow is all around us. That's what we want to create in our lives. Because that's, for me, that's the way I want to live my life. I want to be that love. I want to be that unconditional presence without making someone else wrong. Because they're only wrong in their thinking because they don't know that there's another way. They don't know that there's another way, that the end does not justify the means. They don't know that. And so part of being unconditional love is teaching and being the mentor that Jesus was for us. We now get to do that in our society. We get to choose to interact and behave consciously and within our own limitations. Okay, so hear this. Within our own limitations. So we practice listening and we honor when and where possible. And we have the courage and knowledge to seek assistance from others when it's not possible, and to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe. So that's really important in all the nonviolent communications. There comes a time when we all have to know what our limitations are, and then we have to ask. We have to knock on the door and ask for help. And ask for help from above, but ask for help from your neighbors and your friends. Because they're there to hold you in their arms. They're there to love you as unconditional love. That's why we're in this community together in this dark time, because we're here to hold each other up. And so if you're in a place right now where you don't feel safe within yourself, within those around you, then reach out. Reach out to us, to one of your friends at Unity. Reach out to me or one of the board members. And if we need assistance, we'll reach out too. But we're a family as one. We are all one in humanity. And so when we center ourselves in that divine order, trusting all which occurs as a blessing, even in those dark moments, having faith in the illumination, knowing that it brings growth, healing, and prosperity. Being in that moment of life, accepting what is, and allowing the energetic movement forward with no attachment is infinite life. It's how we propel ourselves and others around us into a new way of life. Now, we talk about oneness a lot. And I'm not sure a lot of people really understand sometimes what we mean or what we do when we surround this beautiful dome with all the loving souls that come in to share the oneness, right? So what does that mean? What it means for me is that in that moment, I allow the energetic flow of love, of consciousness, and of pure joy to flow through me into and expand to all of those around me. And then with the breath, pushing it further outward to all of those in our city and in our state and in our world, blanketing the world in that light, that universal light of love, of bliss, and of consciousness, that higher consciousness that comes from spirit. The only way that I know to get there is through prayer, through meditation. There are many forms of prayer and meditation. You don't just have to sit, but it is that prayer and meditation. That's how I get to that oneness. It's that essence of every family on earth and in heaven. We're all part of that infinite life. And when we live from that state of knowing, we are all one, and we see ourselves and others moving with ease and grace in life as unconditional love. Wow, how does it feel when we stand together in our integrity as compassion for all living beings? We manifest that inner state of awareness. And there's a little process that I love. It's from the book, and this is an old Unity book. It's by Lowell Fillmore. It's called Health, Wealth, and Happiness. The prayer way to health, wealth, and happiness. But in it, there is a prayer drill. And this was something that I kind of learned as a child and forgot about. And if you don't know, Lowell Fillmore is one of the Fillmore's sons, and he did everything in prayer. He ran the business after his dad retired, and he did it all through prayer. And this was a prayer drill. So on the first day, the affirmation is, I am not sustained by bread alone. I am sustained also by the living words proceeding out of the mouth of God. On the second day, my words are spirit and they are life, and they bring me a good harvest of health, happiness, and prosperity. On the third day, the word of God, now active in me, heals, quickens, and strengthens my soul and body. On the fourth day, my mouth shall speak wisdom, and the meditation of my heart shall be of understanding. The fifth day, let my thoughts and my words be in accord with thy good words, my heavenly Spirit. Sixth day, my words shall spring from the inspiration of the Spirit of truth and be filled with love, faith, joy, peace, courage, and health. And on the seventh day, my words are courageous and helpful when I listen for the promptings of God's still small voice within me before I speak. And so, as we continue to live our lives, remember to breathe before we speak. Breathe in love. Speak out love. Be the peace in the world that you want to see. Centered in harmony. Love abides and peace prevails. Namaste.